It's really easy for these assholes up in their high positions of society to talk about how things like the virus are fake when they will never be affected by the negative outcomes of something like the virus, of something like climate change, of something like income inequality, of something like a bad healthcare system. It's really easy for them, and you're going to see this with Tim Pool.
My friends, I am so absolutely sick of seeing dancing nurse videos on TikTok, and I've already seen a whole lot. It's been a year, and they keep doing it. You'd think they would have learned, but I guess this is a really good example of social media reinforcement and, well, the illusion of support. If you ban all of the negative speech and all that's left is positive speech, you will be driven insane. Right now, there are certain individuals who have put out videos that have been critical of the vaccine.
Okay, look at this. Look at this right here. So this is a tweet he made today. People are dying right now. Families are barred entry to hospitals. Nurses and doctors are dancing on the grave. Nurses and doctors are dancing on the grave of the dead while you can only watch from a distance. So a guy who is very against lockdowns, who doesn't take a position on like if stimulus should actually go to people. The worst thing about Tim Pool, one of my least favorite things about him, isn't just, he's a terrible, evil, manipulative person. He is a grifter. You don't put, okay, so in his Twitter bio, I know people debate, is he a grifter or is he genuine? He is genuine in his beliefs, but he's a grifter as well. You could be both. So in his Twitter bio right here, you don't put disaffected liberal in your Twitter bio if you're not a grifter. You don't put that in your Twitter bio if you're not a grifter. You just don't. I think we could all agree on that. Tim Pool's terrible not only because of what he says, but he never owns anything. He's been downplaying COVID from the very beginning, but just like every issue, if you ask Tim Pool about something, he'll back up like a little baby. Oh, I think wearing a mask is okay, but the government is simply going too far. I think people should stop crying about COVID being so bad. He gets to now fake outrage about nurses being happy about a vaccine going out. He gets to fake outrage and cry about this and say nurses are dancing on the graves of the same people over the past 9 months. 50,000 people are dead? The same people that the nurses had to watch suffocate in front of them over and over again, patients coming in, having to go on ventilators, suffocating in front of them. Multiple states having to call in the National Guard because the body bags piled up so high they overcrowded the morgues. They had to bring in refrigerator trucks to multiple cities and multiple states. And Tim Pool gets to sit in his little social media office and be a little bitch about it and cry about it. About doctors being happy that they're finally getting the vaccine after all the rich and powerful people in the world did. So, oh my God, it's so frustrating. All these babies outside crying about wearing a mask. All these little babies. Republican politicians voting against helping Americans, pushing for herd immunity, and then getting the vaccine first. And if they do get the virus, because of how stupid they are, they get the top line medical treatment in human history, essentially. They go to like Walter Reed, or they go to a super fancy hospital that someone at the bottom can only dream of. Even if you're, even if you are moderately wealthy, maybe upper middle class, even if you do make $150,000 a year, you can't dream of the freaking care these politicians get when they come down with COVID. And just imagine all the poor people that have no care whatsoever, and people like Tim Pool are going to cry about it, are going to cry about vaccines going out and nurses being happy. Like, come on. You're an RN, and you had those refrigerator trucks for 6 months outside in NYC, in New York City. Yeah, it's terrible.
Those videos have all been deleted. There are people who put out videos cheering and dancing and, boogieing down in the hospitals, and those videos are promoted. So guess what you get more of? Less criticism, less accountability, more nonsensical time wasting, and it makes everybody go nuts. I have this story from Daily Nurse, the Pulse of Nurse.
More time wasting? That's his biggest issue here? It's wasting time? What? A normal person who has a heart, who has some type of functioning brain, will take this opportunity to criticize the government for not helping Americans. Maybe the dancing nurses is propaganda. Distracting the American people from the real issues about COVID, how deadly it really is, how the government is really failing. Maybe that's what Tim Pool is going to say.
And they show videos of all the doctors doing the choreographed dancing, having a good time.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a good time. It's not celebrating. It's relief. There's a difference between being at like a even level in life, like things are going okay, and getting a big hit of dopamine. Something really good happens. There's a difference between, like, say right here is the baseline of where you are. There's a difference between going from normal up to really happy, and a difference between that and going from down here to normal. This is relief. This is coming out of a hole. This is coming out of pain and suffering and depression. This is going up, like freaking winning the lottery. It's much different. You don't, like, Jesus, dude.
I'm trying to encourage everybody to go get that vaccine. And sure, fine. But come on. You mean to tell me that when all these hospitals are overloaded and they post these pictures of, like, there's like one viral photo of a nurse with her mask off and you can see the lines in her face and she looks all, like, messed up because she's been working long shifts wearing this PPE. There are certain hospitals that are definitely hotspots that are being completely inundated. And most hospitals are not. And it's really frustrating because I see these videos. There's like a bunch of viral videos of a guy going to hospitals and nothing's going on. The problem we have here is that you don't have an honest media. You don't. You don't have honest representatives. You don't. Okay. Now I'm going to start by really getting into talking about dancing nurses. But
Okay,
I know
is he gonna go into a normal person thing, like I was saying, or go into a really evil rant about nurses wasting their time and and COVID really isn't bad everywhere? Like, what is he going for right here? It's interesting.
probably a lot of you want more serious conversation. From the New York Times, how much herd immunity is enough? Scientists initially estimated 60 to 70% of the population.
Oh, no.
Needed
Is he
to
going to do the whole, like, oh, we can't shut down forever? What about the way of life? What about the economy? By the way, Tim Pool is one of the people who used the argument that we can't have lockdowns because of the mental issues people will have because of lockdowns, because of heightened suicide, because of heightened drug use. He has used that argument before, and he can see how that can, weigh on a person. But somehow, watching people suffocate in front of you, away from their family members, isn't going to give you mental turmoil, emotional turmoil. It's,
acquire resistance to COVID to banish it. Now Anthony Fauci and others are quietly shifting that number upward. It's not the first time that Anthony Fauci has admitted to lying to us, okay? This is the important part of this segment. I'm not going to talk about
And he gish gallops all the time. He presents 1,000 arguments like, the nursing thing is bad. How much, you see what he did here. So he opened it up saying there's dancing nurses dancing on your tombstones or whatever. Dancing on your caskets. And then he brings up how much herd immunity is really enough. Can we ever get out of this thing? Oh, wait. Some people don't trust the vaccine, whatever. And also, Fauci, he's lied so many times. Can we trust this? You know what? Also, the media narrative is off. Also, the media narrative is the big issue here. Like, come on, dude.
dancing nurses, but I do want to get this off my chest. And I'm sorry, man. This video is going viral. I hate this BS. Okay, it's got 1.3 million views. Now I don't know what this video is, to be honest. It's being filmed.
This might be propaganda, actually. But thank you for the super chat, Junior. Thoughts on Kyle running for New York governor? I mean, at least he'd be getting involved in real life politics for once.
With a really nice camera and gimbal, it makes it seem like the camera's kind of floating, and there's good depth of field.
That'd be fun, actually.
So it might just be some promo video, but these people are dancing, and it's choreographed. Here's what you need to understand.
I think Kyle would have a good time. I think he would do decent. He's a really good speaker. He can get people on to some progressive policies. If he actually did get into politics and wanted to be like a speaker for different things, I think he'd be a positive impact overall. That'd be fun to watch. Like if he ran for like state house or state senate or like a local council position or a school board. Did he ever talk about that? Did Kyle Kalinske ever talk about like wanting to run for something local or get involved locally or like make an organizing group or something? That'd be pretty cool if he did that.
Maybe these aren't really doctors. That's the first thing I'll say. I've already seen more than enough videos of doctors actually doing messed up stuff. Like, remember when the nurses were slammed for filming themselves dancing with a body?
Exactly, Brandon. That's the thing about Tim Pool is he never takes a position on anything. He's always all over the place. And if you pressure him on a issue, he never like is really tight on that, you know what I mean? Like he always backs away from it. So like I don't know which side is worse, but by the way, like he always does that thing where he's like Democrats and Republicans are both bad. He always says that, like, oh, I don't like both sides, but then he spends his entire life defending Republicans. It's giving the illusion of being moderate and giving the illusion of being like objective while only like favoring one extreme. And that's his role, because people on the far right can watch him and be like, hey, look, this disaffected liberal, Tim Pool, the little grift title on Twitter, this disaffected liberal, the Democrats are too crazy. And this guy used to be a Democrat, and now he's coming over to be more conservative because Democrats are so crazy. I was right about this entire time, Democrats are crazy, and this guy proves it. He's like a token figure for them, like the token liberal that comes over.
Bag, no joke. They were dancing and shuffling as they carried a nut. It's not real. It's just a person I don't know if it's a person, but it's just them carrying a body, which is absolutely insane. But you get videos like this, and there's just something I have to say about this, okay? At a time when we're being told the end is nigh, Anthony Fauci says, don't worry, we can accomplish herd immunity, and then he keeps moving the goalposts, so he's lying the whole time. When he told us earlier this year, don't wear masks, he was wrong, and then he admitted it was all on purpose because they were worried they wouldn't get masks for the important people. That's right. That's authoritarianism. The idea that you...
What did he say? Wait a second.
Masks for the important people.
Wait, I gotta go back further. We gotta go
told
back.
us earlier this year, don't wear masks. He was wrong, and then he admitted it was all on purpose because they were worried they wouldn't get masks for the important people.
Because they were worried they wouldn't get masks for the important people, which means they didn't want normal consumers buying all the masks up and PPE and preventing medical professionals from getting that equipment. And it's really funny that he would say this after we know, after this entire process, still in some areas, nurses are wearing garbage bags and reusing, a mask from a week earlier. I can't believe he said that. And you see how he doesn't really pinpoint any of his ideas down. He never takes a stance on anything. He never says anything accurately either. He didn't want to tell people that we needed masks so the important people can get it. Wow. As if there's some elite class of medical professionals who need PPE. Come on. It's so gross that he does this with his audience, with his platform. And he gets so many views. He has 3 channels. He gets millions of views every day.
That's right. That's authoritarianism. The idea that you're too stupid as an individual, that your rights don't matter, and that we should withhold information from you because we're smarter than you. Now, there are real consequences, and there are real problems with liberty and freedom. With more liberty and freedom comes more risk. And that's the choice this country made a long time ago. Those that would give up freedom for a little bit of security deserve neither and will lose both.
And he's saying all these grand platitudes that mean nothing. Hey man, have you gotten that YouTube subscription yet? If not, how do I get you one? I don't know what you mean, bud. I'm not sure what you mean. Do you mean you sub to the channel? Anybody who's not subbed, please do that, by the way. Yeah, I don't know what you mean. But by the way, imagine if they said this about vaccines. Imagine if they said this about wow, they're limiting vaccines and making sure medical professionals get it first. What, are they more important than the rest of us? Which, yes, actually, and frontline workers are more important. Imagine saying that about anything else that has to do with health. Of course you're going to get that group that because they need it the most. And they are severely underfunded already. And there's already a massive shortage of this thing that they need. So you get it to the people who need it first. It's not rocket science. Oh no, I just pushed my gaming button by accident. 1 second.
That's something we need to recognize. As we see these absurd videos claiming that, 0.1%, likelihood of dying so far.
Steve, you said funny thing is normal consumer habits don't affect mask supply, but mask supply from exclusive government warehouses was low because Trump defunded the supplies. Tim still loves Trump. And if you brought that up to him, he would do, YouTube Premium. I did not get YouTube Premium yet. I'll get it then. Yeah, I don't.
And happen. Mostly, if you're above the age of 70, is grounds for shutting down the entire global economy. To me, is irresponsible and ridiculous because it's just going to keep getting worse. And while they destroy small businesses, while they strip away your right to work, and then you see videos going viral with millions of views of choreographed.
So they shut down your small business and take away your right to work, and that person should be mad because nurses are happy that they're finally getting vaccines. So he wants people who are in pain right now, who lost their business, to not turn to the government for help. Tim Pool does not want them to turn to the government and point fingers at the people in power letting us down. He wants small business owners to point the finger at medical professionals who are relieved they might stop seeing people suffocate soon. That's Tim Pool's prerogative here. He wants weak people to fight weak people. That's what he does. It's all the culture war stuff. It's all this class warfare stuff. The people at the bottom, he wants us to tear each other apart. That's his entire grift. That's how he makes his money. He doesn't really care about government power because every issue he focuses on this level. Like, this is gross. Like, I have no words to describe how disgusting of a rhetorical, mode this is in general.
Dancing from nurses. You want to know why people probably are losing faith or losing, hope? It's because of things like this.
It's not because of the government failing. It's because of the nurses. The nurses are too happy that there's vaccines. How dare they? How dare they? They should shut up about it, right? Shut up about it. Yell at the nurses. Yell at them. They are the true enemy in this entire equation, not the government. The U.S. government, the richest country in the history of the world, that gave our citizens one $1,200 check, while freaking many countries like China, with freaking 1/10 of our GDP, are still giving their citizens $2,000 a month. Be mad at the nurses. Beautiful.
You tell me that you're overrun. You tell me we're desperate. You tell me things couldn't get any worse, and then you start doing the little shuffle dance. Here's what I want to say about this. The nurses that are doing the choreographed dancing are not just taking breaks. That's the lie. They say these nurses are just, morale boosting and they're taking breaks. Things are stressful at the hospital. And taking a few minutes to do a little dance, well, that's important because it makes people feel calm, makes them feel better when they're witnessing all of this death. Full stop. Don't even say it. Did you watch any of these videos? Some of them are silly nonsense, like people just shuffling in the hallway. We got one video that's been around since May 24th.
Okay. I don't disagree with him on the idea. So everything else in the video is gross, obviously. But the idea that this is a corporate marketing campaign to distract from our government's failures is correct. But what Tim Pool's doing is he's not saying this is something to be mad at the government for. He's saying we should be mad at nurses or like the people. Like he's saying that there's some grand conspiracy of elites that is orchestrating these mass media movements and who are telling us the virus is bad, I guess with the intention of making sure every small business closes down. But, I don't think he knows he's trying to make the point because he's not following through with the point I think he thinks he's making, if that makes sense. He isn't actually making that point. I'm not sure if he's very, aware of it, though.
I want to be very careful. In this video, you have someone filming and complaining that all of these nurses or whatever are dancing, mopping, and waving their arms, and they're like, why are we waiting? We're patients. Why can't we see a doctor? Why can't we get in? Why can't we see a nurse? Oh, because they were sitting here for a couple minutes.
Never mind. I thought too much of him. I thought too high of Tim Pool. I gave him a little bit of... I gave a little bit of confidence to Tim Pool for a second. I was very mistaken. But, for a second there... I thought he was going to make a somewhat decent point, but apparently the patients should also be mad at the nurses because, okay.
Getting ready for the TikTok to do their little shuffle dance. Okay, fine. Maybe these shuffling people waving their arms were all on break and unnecessary at a time of crisis. Fine. But I have seen more than enough videos of choreographed dancing.
Of course, Tim Pool's #1 backup. I have seen videos on Twitter, literally everything. In the Wyche conversation, in the Destiny conversation, his freaking source was, trust me, bro. And also, I saw this on Twitter. I saw a video on Twitter that proves this to me. Those are his 2 cop-outs. Amazing. Or he brings up an anecdote. It's Twitter or an anecdote, an anecdotal story. By the way, if you are watching this, please drop a like onto the video, to the stream, so that this may be thrust into the algorithm and be picked up by more people possibly. There's 192 playbacks on this video so far, which means 192 people have pressed on it, and 67 are staying, which means around over 30% are staying to watch. So thank you for that. But that's pretty cool. So I mean, I think if we upscale those, views, then more people will be here. Maybe, I don't know. Numbers are weird.
Now these people aren't good at dancing. Okay, this is important. They're not good at dancing. but someone at least taught them what the dance was. You don't get someone on a 15-minute break and say, okay, everybody dance, we're going to film it. You say, here are the moves. So that probably takes a little while. Now, more importantly, some of these videos aren't just like a basic 30-second, 30 seconds of choreography where they do like 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, shuffle to the left, shuffle to the right, wave your arms. Like, you could teach someone that very quickly, and based on their, lack of skill, I'd imagine it was very, very quickly. But some of these are more intricate than that. Some of these show the doctors in multiple settings. There's in this, again, this video is probably not a good example because I don't know if it's a music video or what the deal is. But I've seen other videos where you have nurses wearing the same clothes in different parts of the hospital. So you mean to tell me they cleared out this part of the hospital, moved them around, and had them
Global warming is about to destroy the Earth. COVID-19 has wiped out half of the Earth's population. There are mass riots in the streets. Tim Pool is in his room crying about critical race theory and choreographed dancing with nurses. This is the big issue with our society right now to Tim Pool. Beautiful.
Dance in a specific way, that takes all day. Oh, was the hospital closed? Either way, I look at that and I get angry. I get angry because Fauci has been lying to us, and they say it's for our own good. It's important that the hospital's got the PPE.
This isn't a point. He went from he's mad at dances to because Fauci's mad at us. This isn't coherent.
And the regular people didn't. Fine.
Or because Fauci lied to us. Not that he's mad at us. He's mad at Fauci for lying or whatever. Like, whatever he's talking about here. He's bringing up the story from June and the thing that happened in March to back up why he's mad at nurses being happy at the end of December. 350,000 people dead later.
But I don't like being treated like lesser than or disposable, and I'm sure a lot of people don't. Now, look, I work a lot. I work all the time. My business is successful, and I'm fortunate enough to have gotten out of these cities, but a lot of other people aren't. So I can only imagine other people are just...
Oh, no, Fauci lied about the dancing. Oh, no, not the dancing. Oh, Fauci said there's going to be more dancing, and there wasn't enough. Jesus. Do you think Fauci taught them how to dance? I know he turned 80. Maybe he had like a big birthday party, and they had a big get-together on how to sell the propaganda empire to make Tim Pool mad. How many times has he jumped in between incoherent points? Yeah, I don't know how many times exactly. Look up how many times Michael Jordan jumped during his entire career to dunk from the free throw line. Probably like much more than that.
More angry, way angrier than I am when they see this stuff. This is the big breaking news. And let me tell you something. One TikTok nurse did lose her job because she was bragging about how the rules for wearing a mask were pointless or whatever, and then she ended up getting fired. So you mean to tell me you can come out and say this is ridiculous nonsense, I'm not going to do it, you're fired, but you can spend a day going around the hospital doing various dances over and over again, no matter how much criticism...
Oh my God. So a nurse broke COVID rules, which means she put other people in danger. Her job is to be a nurse, and he's comparing this to nurses dancing, and we know the videos are like 30-second clips on TikTok, and he said, wow, can you compare this to nurses dancing all day? They simply dance all day. They just dance all day. They don't even do much. They're just so, they're so oblivious to what's really going on. I, Tim Pool, know all the secrets. Like, the secret the Fauci lied back in June. Why are you dancing now? Like, the vaccines aren't that big of a deal. Like, COVID, like, come on. He doesn't, like, why couldn't, I know, okay, Vosh went on to make a bridge to certain viewers and to come off as agreeable, to present like socialism in a not scary way. Destiny went on to sleepwalk the entire thing. Like, I want somebody to go on, I think Hunter Avalone did a decent job. I didn't see much of it, but I want somebody to go on and frickin' rip into Tim Pool. I want somebody to go with facts. Bring your own laptop. I know Tim Pool doesn't want you to be able to actually fact check anything. Bring your own laptop. Come up with talking points. Know how to fire back against what Tim Pool's saying.
Comes out and it's fine. I'll tell you this, and then we'll read the Fauci stuff. This is because everybody probably hates it, but they found their audience, and that's all that matters. That's it.
Oh, Tim Pool just described his entire channel. Everybody probably hates it, but he found his audience. That's all that matters.
Let me tell you how social media censorship works. You've got various subcultures and groups of people. Some of these groups post really insane things, racist garbage nonsense, and they have their community.
Dude, okay. I know Tim Pool lies a lot, but he shouldn't lie about the size of the Trump supporting base. It's more than a subgroup that does this stuff, you know.
And then Twitter and social media bans that community, and they're gone. That's it.
I can't wait till Trump actually repeals Section 230 by some way, and Twitter, in turn, kicks Trump off the platform because they would be liable for all the crazy shit he says. But we did have a theory about that the other day. Basically, I think Trump is pushing to remove Section 230 so that companies like Twitter and Facebook no longer have liability protection, so they drop all the crazy Trump supporters. And when all the crazy Trump supporters are dropped, then Trump, when he gets out of office, can start his media company and his new app. And that app can gain a lot of power. So that's why I think Trump wants to remove Section 230, also because he's mad at Twitter. But I think that's a way to break into the, that market.
Posting this stuff. Then you have dancing nurses. Well, social media companies don't care about that, so they leave it alone. And if anything, they promote it because journalists will start promoting it. Then more and more people start doing it. Then you get massive waves of really cringeworthy, annoying, and insulting videos. These people dancing. Why?
No.
Why?
That's my
Imagine
theory.
if I went to a funeral and I started just dancing. I'm like, get the TikTok out, everybody. We're going to do a choreographed dance right in front of the casket.
Imagine if you went at a funeral and somebody died from COVID and you said, haha, why do you wear a mask so much? We need to open up the economy, pussies. Imagine if you said that at a funeral. Wow, ha ha ha, ha, so funny. God, this guy's a sociopath. Take that beanie off, you find dirt and coal. Because he got coal for Christmas because he's bad. He's a naughty. I don't want to say naughty boy because that sounds suggestive. I'm not going to call Tim Pool a naughty boy. But he's not a good person, if that makes sense.
They think dancing in a hospital during a pandemic, when 327,000 people or so were dead, they've shut down the economy, everybody's suffering. It's like going to a funeral wearing bright colors, or no, I'm sorry, they're wearing their scrubs. It's like going to a funeral, all wearing funeral clothes, and then doing a, yo, wave your arms, everybody, woo, and start clapping and cheering. Are you nuts? Yeah. And while all that is going down, this is what we get from the likes of Dr. Anthony Fauci. The New York Times put out the story on Christmas Eve. On Christmas Eve. I wonder why. Many of you may have noticed.
Because Christmas is about to happen and also New Year's. So everybody's going to get really drunk at parties and spread COVID much more than ever before. Combined with the winter months, because winter really takes effect. I know it's been cold up here in the Northeast, but the dead part of winter is usually like January, February, right? So we're going to be coming off two big gatherings, Christmas and then a big party holiday with New Year's, which is going to create a big spike. And then we're going to have continued really, really cold and harsh weather. So nobody's going to be doing outside activities. So that's going to help the spread even more. The vaccines don't kick in until you get 2 doses. You need to get 1 dose of the vaccine. I think for the Pfizer one, you get 1 dose. And then 21 days later, you get another dose. And after that second dose, I think a week after, then your immunity has kicked in. So it takes a long time to get that through. Assuming that most areas in the country are going to actually get the vaccine, assuming the vaccine actually works like it's intended to, when a mass sample finally gets and receives and, has the entire vaccine process done.
It wasn't working on Christmas Eve, Christmas, or the day after Christmas, and there's a reason for that. Well, most people aren't consuming news. Most of the news would fall on deaf ears, just I actually saw a lot of YouTubers who tried to upload on Christmas and they were like, okay, I'm deleting the video and I'll post it back again next week. Because you put it up and people are spending time with their families. The New York Times puts out this very, very critically important story on Christmas Eve, a time when most people probably will not see it. In the world of PR, let me tell you something. It is said that Apple always does their releases on Tuesdays. I don't know if that's still true, but it was true for a long time. The reason is, on Monday, everybody's eyes are like glazed over and they're like, oh, I can't wait for the weekend. On Tuesday, they're back in the thick of things. Like, all right, it's Tuesday, I'm at work, here we go. You put it out on Tuesday, and internet traffic is slowly on the up. So on Sunday,
so apparently, he released it right before Christmas, on Christmas Eve, so that nobody sees it. Not to disincentivize, or is it de-incentivize, whatever, to disencourage people from going to mass gatherings. That couldn't be the purpose, right? It needs to be a conspiracy because everything in Tim Pool's mind is going to go to conspiracy. One, probably because he was involved on the ground with a lot of reporting. That can make you lead to more conspiratorial answers. He is an outright populist above all else. That's how he speaks. That's his rhetoric. That's all he cares about. And also, being a conspiracist is what makes him money. So it's like the Pavlov effect, You keep on doing one thing, you get a reward for it. So the more conspiracies Tim Pool makes, the more viewers he gets, the more donations he gets, the bigger his net worth pops up. Gets a lot of money from it. So that's going to make him more conspiratorial as well.
Slowly returns. Saturday's the worst day. Sunday, it starts to return. Monday's okay. Tuesday is high. Wednesday's the best. You put your release out on a Tuesday. Wednesday hits hard. You get a lot of traffic, a lot of views, a lot of shares. Goes down a little Thursday, goes down a lot Friday, and then falls off Saturday, starts to recover on Sunday. That's important information for those who are wondering why news stories often come out on Fridays. Friday nights, for instance, the worst possible day. You'll notice big breaking stories, really important stories, like the DOJ will make an announcement or someone will do something. Friday night, you have this story on Christmas Eve. This Christmas Eve may be the worst possible day to put out any piece of content because you want to put out your content the day before a big traffic day, the day before the release of some, product or movie that you're going to piggyback off of everyone's interested in, right?
He's assuming this has been written for a long time. He's assuming this has been planned for a long time. He's assuming that this timing is in accordance with what he knows about media, not for like the holidays or something. Because I saw this all over the place. I saw this on news after Christmas on mainstream media, like this report about how dangerous it's going to be to get together. This has been a thing that's been going throughout the entire. And this was written by Donald J. McNeil. So it's up to that one guy. This wasn't like a thing written by Fauci, right? Donald J. McNeil Jr. from the New York Times. It would be different if this was official. Was this an official statement by Fauci? Or was this just a reporter deciding to release this on Christmas Eve?
Christmas Day, people are waking up and they're spending time with their families and they're not reading the news. And this story drops. Donald G. McNeil Jr. for the New York Times writes, at what point does a country achieve herd immunity? What portion of the population must acquire resistance to the coronavirus, either through infection or vaccination, in order for the disease to fade away and life to return to normal? Since the start of the pandemic, the figure that many epidemiologists have offered has been 60 to 70%. That range is still cited by the World Health Organization and is often repeated during discussions of the future course of the disease. Although it is impossible to know with certainty what the limit will be until we reach it and transmission stops, having a good estimate is important. It gives Americans a sense of when we can hope to breathe freely again. Recently, a figure to whom millions of Americans look for guidance, Dr. Anthony Fauci, an advisor to both Trump and the incoming Biden administration, has begun incrementally raising his herd immunity estimate. In the pandemic's early days, Fauci tended to cite the same...
Oh my God, this idea from people who are very right-wing and very anti-intellectual that science cannot change. So if I make a prediction based on medical info and based on studies right now, and I make a different, if I have a different conclusion after I get more info in, then apparently, if I change up what I think based off of available information, then apparently I changed my mind. I think Tim Pool assumes all of this stuff is a subjective, idea that these people make up for fun. Like they have a certain motive to make up a fake number for herd immunity. Interesting. And yeah, recently a figure whom millions of Americans look for guidance, Anthony Fauci, an advisor to both the Trump administration and the incoming Biden administration, has been raising it. So this article's release date has nothing to do with Fauci, has nothing to do with the government, has nothing to do with even New York Times. This one guy wrote, this one reporter wrote an article about it, or journalist wrote an article about it and released it. So,
60 to 70% estimate that most experts did about a month ago. He began saying 70, 75 in television interviews. And last week he said 75, 80, 85% and 75 to 80 plus percent. In a telephone interview the next day, Dr. Fauci acknowledged he had slowly but deliberately been moving the goalposts. He is doing so, he said, partly based on new science and partly on his gut feeling the country is finally ready to hear what he really thinks.
Okay, gloss over this part. New science. Who cares about new science? Ugh. But there is some criticisms to be made of Fauci when it comes to not being a behavioral economist or something. Is he using other people's science and their predictions based on what people should be hearing at certain times? Because, for example, did you guys hear how they moved the quarantine time from 14 days to 10 days? And people were like, wow, we only needed 10 days this entire time. That isn't the case. 14 days is better for quarantine, but if you tell people to only quarantine for 10 days, they're more likely to follow that number than they are to follow a 14-day quarantine. So telling people 10 days actually was more productive than telling people to quarantine 14 days, based on the behavior of people who had COVID and had to quarantine. So there was a big reason behind that. So there's behavioral science and there's actual science with herd immunity and medical information that we need to pay attention to when making these numbers and different borders and guidelines.
Are you kidding me? Throughout this whole year, we relied on you to be telling us what was going on, and you weren't telling us what you really thought. This is insane. We have no press. We have no legitimate information being disseminated from the media organizations in this country. And the story comes out. Amazing. Amazing.
What?
Christmas Eve. The day that
Wait, what did he just say? Okay, let's follow this logic here. We have no press. Wait.
being disseminated from the media organizations in this country. And the story comes out.
We have no press. There's no actual information being disseminated. And the story comes out.
Amazing.
Amazing. What?
Amazing. Christmas Eve.
That doesn't make sense. He just said there's no media. The story comes out. Amazing. Christmas Day. Amazing. This is one of those things where you're priming your audience and you want them to finish the conclusion in their own head, and you don't actually have a point to make.
No one is going to read it. Bravo. That's how
No one reads anything. What are you talking about? It's about the general discussion around it, and CNN talking about it, and MSNBC talking about it, and Fox News, well, they probably don't talk about it, but ABC talking about it, NBC talking about it. It isn't about this one article and this article's exposure. He does know that articles are dead, right? He does know that, print media is dead, essentially, especially nationally.
Minimize news stories. So now they can always come out and say, we were lying.
People lose the ability to read on Christmas. They actually just forget the rest of the world happens. It's a whole day of just candy and rainbows and unicorns and snow outside. It's perfect. It's like the movie Elf. If you ever saw the movie Elf, not Elf, Elf. I don't know why I said Elf. My bad. But yeah, the movie Elf with what did I say? I almost said Adam Sandler instead of Will Ferrell. I don't know what I'm on tonight. So I almost said the movie Elf was the main actor was Will Ferrell, but I almost said Adam Sandler, which is not correct. But that's one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. I don't know why. I think I just watched it every year, so I ended up liking it a lot.
Told all of you. You knew exactly what the game was. Or maybe only those who are truly involved in politics will have read a story like this. So let me tell you why I'm doing this segment.
That's us. We are truly involved in politics.
If I were to look up in the dictionary or an encyclopedia, figurative gut punch, it would be these stories. Dancing nurses, having a good old time and laughing and choreographing while people are dying.
Yeah, so the nurses who see people suffocate to death in front of them, and then they finally get a vaccine after years, or after a year, basically 9 months. They finally get that, and they want to show some relief, and Temple is very triggered.
And Anthony Fauci saying, yeah, I'm lying to you. I'm not really telling you what's going on. What did you think? The government would tell you the truth? Yeah. Well,
this is what populists do. We are the normal people. There is a class above us who is controlling us. They are controlling the narrative. They have the media empires. We cannot trust what they say. Like, Bernie Sanders uses populism, but he is like a politician type first. He uses populism as a method to spread his progressive policies, which is a pretty common method, but he's not a populist above all else. A populist above all else would be like Nico House, would be like Kim Iverson, would be like Crystal Ball, would be, who else? Jimmy Dore is a populist above all else. Kyle Kalinske goes back and forth between a populist and, I don't know if I want to say pragmatist as the other way, but yeah, that's basically what that is.
Let's not make that mistake, huh? I want to tell you what's really fascinating about this story. They talk about how the World Health Organization says 60 to 70% still. That range is still cited by the World Health Organization. Well, my friends, as you know, I'm very cognizant of YouTube's rules. And it is very important for me that I make sure I'm abiding by YouTube's rules because YouTube knows best,
Wait,
right?
I thought he's against the World Health Organization. I thought he was really against what they say.
They know what's best for us. You masses are too dumb. So YouTube's enacted a bunch of rules to keep you safe. Okay. One of those rules is that you can't publish videos that go against the World Health Organization. YouTube, I would like you to please go to, CNBC, and ban this video from Fauci and remove other videos from Fauci, who is clearly going against World Health Organization guidelines and spewing non-science. What was that? You won't do it? I'm not surprised. They're not actually going to take down anything from Fauci. It's ridiculous. The rules make no sense. What we have is a ruling class, elites, who can say and do whatever they want. They can get their hair done. They can
Okay, so the World Health Organization labeled 70% as the baseline threshold number for simple herd immunity. And if you want advanced immunity where things are going to be back to normal and being back to somewhat like Australia, I know they eradicated the virus in many ways, but if we want to get back to normal, you need those numbers that Fauci is talking about. And that's what he's talking about when getting to back to normal, because most Americans are going to assume that at 70% we are going to be able to go back to normal, and that isn't good for actually stopping this pandemic. When it comes to what's going to actually get us there, it's going to be 75, it's going to be 80%. I think people right now, for example, they assume since the vaccine is coming out that everything's going to go back to normal pretty soon. Like, yay, the vaccines are out. I can finally go back to the bars in a couple months or something like that and not worry about it, when that simply isn't the case. We're going to be wearing these, this mask protocol for at least until the end of 2021, at the very, very least, if everything goes great with the vaccines. Because we aren't going to stop spread anytime soon, because people in America don't care about that stuff.
To eat like Newsom. You got Lightfoot Whitmer.
And the government's the issue. I don't want to say people, because I always talk about how individuals shouldn't be blamed for systemic issues like the government not taking care of the pandemic. But people in America seem to not care about helping others as much or protecting others by wearing a mask as they do in other countries. If you're in another country, maybe you can say what your experience is, but it seems like when I go to a store, there's at least, like, say, Walmart, there's at least 20 people not wearing a mask. I saw some Walmart workers not wearing any mask, so.
And who's the other one? Lightfoot Whitmer and Pelosi. That's right. I'll get in their hair done because they have to be on TV. I'm sure there were others. That's where the meme came from of, I need a haircut too, or something like that.
Yeah, and we're not dealing with the fact that many people are going to not get the vaccine because they don't trust it. Because of people like Tim Pool drawing conspiracy around everything.
These people are allowed to break the rules. Dr. Birx herself went and visited her family on Thanksgiving. Photos come out. And they're like, you're the ones who said we can't do this. And she goes, but my parents were depressed and not eating. What about the rest of our families? Do you think they're not depressed? We're just all the families of great mental fortitude, but your family was too weak? Well, she's talking about early retirement now. My friends, it is rules for thee, but not for me. YouTube has rules. Dr. Fauci can lie, cheat, and steal.
Old thing that since the governors, by the way, I hate Gavin Newsom. I hate all the dumbass Democratic governors that didn't follow their own freaking COVID protocols, and in turn, since they didn't follow their own protocols, drew people from the public to be a little bit confused and not trusting of the protocols they wanted to push, and in turn probably costing more lives. These idiot governors being caught at their fancy dinners with their families and everybody they want to hang out with all their, whatever lobbyists they were with. Frustrating. It's really frustrating to make, because people like me, I'm trying to tell people, like, we need to do this to keep people safe. We need to keep people safe. If the government closes down businesses, it's because that's what's going to make people not die as much. And when you see these politicians come out here like this and totally disregard it, it's a lot harder for me to ask people to make personal sacrifices when our elected representatives who make millions and millions and millions of dollars can't even do the same. Our governors cannot do the same. It's really frustrating.
All he wants, and that's allowed. And you know what? After just saying that,
what's up,
I
Con?
could get this video banned from YouTube. So if this video is still up, please consider sharing it to show people. I have a story from the New York Times that says definitively Dr. Fauci is going against the World Health Organization. They say the World Health Organization is citing 60 to 70%, and it is often repeated during discussions of the future course of the disease. But Fauci is saying 75 to 80+%. He is going to be freaking people out. This is wrong. Fauci is wrong. The World Health Organization said 60 to 70. Why do we sit back and just accept this from a guy who keeps lying? This is a story from June 16th, 2020. Fauci, why the public wasn't told
The
to
reason you can't go to the bar, even if you get a vaccine, even if you are the perfect model citizen, and you probably cannot get COVID that bad if you're staying inside a lot, you're vaccinated, like you said, is the same reason why we cannot drive 100 miles on the highway. It's the same reason why you're not allowed to drive till you're 16. You make baseline arbitrary rules to try and fit many people, and you make a rule saying like everybody needs to do this, because if you say, you know what, there's certain exceptions, then more people are going to get mad about it. You need to have a uniform rule for the society in order for the social contract to follow that. We can't just say there's an exception for a couple people. In these processes, in these, I mean, it's not like we're having lockdowns anyway. Bars are still open in most states, like Republican states, but yeah, you need to have these rules in place to maintain the social conduct, and it's just how humans are going to operate. It sucks. Like, for me, I shouldn't be blocked from going anywhere. I literally do not go any place that I have a chance of getting COVID. Other than if I need to run into a store or something, I haven't done anything. If I've been with a friend, it's been doing something outside probably, and doing it with like one person. Like, I don't deserve to be under the same rules as the people who are walking around with no mask on, but it's how it is. And I understand that because I need to take that personal sacrifice to maybe have it's about the idea of it too.
wear masks when the coronavirus pandemic began. And he straight up admits it. He also acknowledged that masks were initially not recommended to the general public so that first responders wouldn't feel the strain of a shortage of PPE. He explained the public health experts were concerned. The public health community, and many people were saying this, were concerned that it was at a time when personal protective equipment, including the N95 mask and the surgical mask, were...
I think there'll be a point for it, honestly. I think there'll be a point when it's like, I don't know, 60% of people are predicted to have immunity, and certain private corporations are going to be like, hey, if you want to come use our product, you need to make sure you are either tested or vaccinated. You'll have your little vaccine card on your phone, and your vaccine chip in your arm and all that stuff. But to be real, does anybody in chat have an issue with that, by the way? These private corporate rules that we need to have a vaccine to do anything. So to shop at, probably not Walmart, but to go and fly somewhere, to go into certain government buildings in order to get a passport, in order to enter different countries. Maybe, I know, it was a Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster said they're not selling tickets to anybody who doesn't get a vaccine. So are you concerned about that with like freedom or whatever? I'm not really, because already we have these little things called smartphones, which are completely not safe at all when it comes to our information and our privacy. I don't think anything is private personally, so I don't really worry about it. It is what it is at this point. Yeah, the more and more politicians do as they please without consequence. Yeah, when there's a different set of rules. And that's for the same reason, if the people in authority or like your peers are doing something against the rules, you might want to break the rules more. Sure. Well, South Korea and like Japan and a lot of these countries in Asia are much more. Is it authoritarian? It is more authoritarian in general. Like the government has rules they can crack down pretty quick, and the people are used to following in order. The people are used to wearing masking for different reasons, of course, for different other reasons. It was already a part of the culture to one listen to health advisories, wear masking, and also to come uniformly as a government, right? If I'm not wrong.
Very short supply. But by early April,
like, oh my god, imagine if we did what South Korea is doing here. People would be rioting, literally, like these far-right militias and shit. Yeah, we're not going to be able to force it on only unvaccinated people. It's not logistically possible. We can't, like, it would be too much work. It'd be too much extra work to make sure that would go correctly. And there's no I don't know, maybe they can have, like, bars open for only people who had their vaccines. That'd be something interesting, conceptually.
Strategic national stockpile had been depleted. And around the same time, President Trump invoked the Defense Production Act to have manufacturing chains across the U.S. focus on making vital medical equipment such as ventilators and masks. Fauci continued to say that they wanted to give as many masks as possible to frontline workers and emergency personnel. Quote, "We wanted to make sure that the people, namely the healthcare workers, who were brave enough to put themselves in harm's way, to take care of people who were infected with the coronavirus and the danger of them getting infected." Fauci concluded.
Yeah, that's the issue.
As for how long Americans will need to wear masks or at least be advised to wear them, that may depend on new case numbers.
Oh, yeah, we could go off positive test rates and also case numbers, of course, per capita for like masking in certain areas. But the issue also, it's funny because since the U.S. has a bunch of states who are under the same country and we can move freely over state lines, you can't have, for example, like California being completely blocked off from Vegas or Nevada or something, and I can't have Pennsylvania blocked off from New York. So even if one state had a really low rate of like infection, it'd be really hard to maintain that and to lift those restrictions and be okay with it. Because versus like in Europe, you can have certain things across the borders where you're like, okay, you cannot cross the borders. I think they had a program where if you work in another country, then you can cross the border for work, but you can't freely travel over the lines in Europe as you usually could during the pandemic. Only workers could. You can't do that in America, though. You can't tell people in Texas they can't go to Oklahoma or something like that.
Listen, I want to tell you what's going on, okay? Fauci initially lied about masks. Many said, no, the science changed. Initially, they were like, don't wear masks, and then they realized you need to wear a mask. That is not true. Medical professionals always needed the masks. Now, think about that. I remember back when they started, planning for the lockdowns, when they banned travel, they were saying, you don't need to wear a mask, but they were wrong. And they were saying it while also saying medical professionals need masks. And we were like, if masks don't do anything, why do the doctors need them? Clearly they do, and they weren't being forthright. So yes, it was a lie. We now know that Dr. Fauci was doing it because he was concerned if everybody ran out and bought PPE, there would be none for doctors. I understand that.
Yeah, crazy monk. What about like viral load? If you have a vaccine, is there any chance that you spreading the virus will give a lesser viral load to other people? I've heard that term a couple times. The big obvious difference in Iceland and from Iceland to the U.S. is how the government handled things. The Icelandic government supplemented all and any wages during shutdowns. Yeah, that's my biggest issue with the U.S. programs for the COVID relief. Wages should have been guaranteed by the government. If wages were guaranteed by the government, we would have spent a lot less money on things like PPP loans, for example. Many less businesses would have closed. We'd have a lot less people. We would have no need for the pandemic unemployment. That's been a cluster, and a big issue getting that enrolled or getting that out and getting people enrolled in that per state, because each state had to come up with their own way to distribute that pandemic relief, which sucked. So yeah, a nice universal program where the government guarantees, like in France, 84% of your wages, or in Germany, I think it was 80% of your wages. Like oh my God, that would have been so great.
And there are real consequences. But maybe instead of lying, you should have just went out.
People won't get the vaccine because they will hear about how you still need to wear masks and socially distance and stuff. I wish people made it clear why we still need to do it. There should be better educational campaigns. But like we're saying, a lot of confidence has been eroded in the medical community and in politicians. So even if there were campaigns like that, the people we need to reach with that message probably won't care anyway. I think most reasonable people are going to get the vaccine and still wear a mask with no problem. But there is enough of a deviant group to throw the entire program off, and I don't know how to reach them, honestly. We just have to hope every person who has if you get it with your job, that's good, and make sure every person who wants to get it can get it and easily have access to it. I think that's the biggest issue right now. Don't even waste time trying to convince these people. Hopefully, I don't know how I feel about this, actually. What if they made a rule, like you can't go to work? If they made can the state do this? Impose restrictions where you can't carry any workers that do not get the COVID vaccine? Or maybe even businesses will do that. Big operations, like even Home Depot. Like we're talking about government workers. Like government workers are going to have to get it. Healthcare workers are going to have to get it. But when we talk about Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, Amazon, Petco, all these big box stores, they employ a good amount of people. Can they say they want their workers vaccinated? Yes, they can. So maybe that'll happen.
Out and got masks and then told the people the truth. More importantly, don't people deserve to know the truth? Is it the role of government to lie to everyone? The government is supposed to be for, of, and by the people, not elites who are smarter dictating what we can or can't do. And that's where we are today.
Wait, isn't Tim Pool for a representative government? Like literally, he doesn't advocate for democracy, but he's speaking against a representative republic right now. He's speaking against the republic. Like, what? He's so fake populist. He's so fake anti-elite. He's so fake, like, pro-people. It's annoying. Like, you can't complain about representative, like, this republic and then be like, oh, wow, why are there people who are smarter controlling things? That's literally the point of this government. You know, the peasants can't make our own decisions, so we need to elect people in our society to lead us. We elect our own representatives because we can't either, we can't do the decision making and we can't handle the process of doing it either. Like, what? That's what scares you about the vaccine. I wonder if there's going to be any long-lasting effects with it, but I do have some confidence in it, at least the ones that all the politicians got. I don't think all these 80-year-old politicians, I don't think the most powerful people in the world would get this if it wasn't good. I don't think they would get it. Celebrities were betting a lot of money on it. It was being sold for like, $50,000, $100,000 on that one betting site. Maybe that'll give a little bit more confidence to people. I don't know how I feel about it exactly, but the trials didn't look terrible. They were saying if this was a vaccine for something that wasn't a pandemic, it definitely wouldn't be out this soon. It would not be out right now because of the results were not perfect. But it's still not terrible from what I saw.
Dancing nurses,
as far as side effects go,
while they're mocking us, they're laughing in our faces. These people still have jobs. I know it's not, for a lot of them it might be bad, but there are a lot of.
There's that conspiracy. Like I saw the one, like they're getting a different vaccine or they're getting a vitamin B shot or something. They can be getting that too. I don't know. I would ask, why are they spending so much money on it? It's from the same company, unless if you literally think there's like a mass conspiracy, which at that point we're screwed anyway. We might as well give up. If there's that much of a conspiracy in the world, like, okay, if that much, if we can't detect something like that, might as well just call it quits, all right? We're going to live in the Matrix. We're going to have our happy little office jobs. We're not going to try to change much because the world is already done. Doctors still have jobs during the pandemic. How dare they let hospitals stay open while small businesses are closing? How dare they?
Hospitals that are not overly strained. This is what people need to realize. You'll see all the messages where they're like, the hospital is overrun. What do we do? Yes, that's happening. Then what you won't see is the people saying not every hospital is overrun. Many of those videos will get banned outright. Videos critical of Fauci will be banned. This video might get deleted. No joke. They get rid of any contradictory information so you can't make up your own mind because they think they're smarter and better than you, and they want to control you. That's not what this country was founded on.
Fauci wants to control you. Fauci is making big bucks off of this. It's all a conspiracy. Be mad at the nurses dancing. They are trying to take away your small business. Be mad at them. Tylenol should be banned. Hey, there was that big issue with Tylenol, remember? That's why they made sure to protect it with like special seals. Because wasn't there a big thing with Tylenol where someone replaced Tylenol pills with something else? And there were some murders. What was that called? Oh my God, someone probably knows what I'm talking about.
And it's not what made this country successful and great. This country was founded on limited government, but it really was founded on the...
That's a good point, Drew B. That's a good point. When you're stuck inside, when you're isolated, things are so scary on the outside. Like, all these government conspiracy theories seem so bad. They seem so realistic, too, because your entire perception is being, like, messed up, and you're kind of, like, really receptive to those ideas. But when you go out into the real world, I feel like you're less likely to be radicalized, talking to actual people and experiencing reality. Like, for example, I talked to a lot of people leading up to this election, and many people were very scared of this election and of what might happen. But when we got to the election and got through it, we're like, okay, this isn't too scary. Or what's another example? It might be like is a roller coaster a good example? Like, you're really scared when you get to a roller coaster and you start to go up, like it's really scary. But when you actually get to the point where you were afraid of, like you were afraid of going down the roller coaster, but you get there and it's not that scary. If that makes sense. Like, that's sort of how reality is. Like January 6th right now, we're waiting for a big issue to happen in Washington because Trump is calling for a big riot at the Electoral College being counted and certified. But when we get there, although we might be expecting some doomsday event, when all the shit actually happens, it'll seem less sinister than the story we made up in our own heads.
Principles that there were, as they said about senators.
What's it called? The crescendo effect? I'll have to look that up.
Better men. I don't necessarily agree with that concept, but there was an idea of some kind of established meritocracy or some kind of privileged access, a combination of the will of the people and the will of the states. That's what the Senate and the House were. They were different. We're not a direct democracy. Just because you want something doesn't mean it's yours. We are a constitutional republic with elected representatives. And sometimes, going back to the start of this country, senators were chosen by the state representatives. So it wasn't direct. It wasn't.
So is he for direct democracy? Is he for making Republicans electorally inviable? Like unviable? Like Republicans would never win another election in American history if we had a popular vote. They just wouldn't win. There's no possible way for them to win. So is he advocating for that? Tim Pool is for abolishing the Electoral College based.
Things have become more so that way. But now we have this sort of, paradoxical system. It's kind of multi-personality government, I'll put it, where they claim we're a democracy over and over again. But then the elites can do whatever they want, control whatever they want, and tell us what to do and when to do it while lying to us. It's because we're not really a democracy. We never were. But Democrats and establishment elites rely on low information voters. They either want us fighting.
Exactly. They would have to move to the left. We'd have a really radical far-right party. We'd have a centrist party with probably Pelosi, Biden, McConnell might join in that party. They might be in the same party. Who knows? Then we'd have a left-wing party. We'd have an actual left-wing party if that happened. If Republicans were made electorally inviable, that would do the most to, rip the Overton window to the left. Like, if we got the interstate voter compact or whatever and made the Electoral College basically a popular vote, then, the Democratic primary would effectively be the new general election if we could bypass the Electoral College somehow.
with each other or believing stupid things. So we vote for stupid things and then they go off and do whatever they want, launder money, or they outright lie about what's going on. At a certain point, I guess there's a growing number of people who are paying attention and are sick to their stomachs watching these insane dancing nurses and getting angrier and angrier about it. I wish I had a job where I didn't have to work and could just dance around. I'm sure a lot of people feel that way, huh?
Huh? What?
Dancing nurses and getting angrier and angrier about it. I wish I had a job where I didn't have to work and could just dance around. I'm sure a lot of people feel that way, huh? I mean, in all honesty, I like my job. I like doing what I do, and I'm sure you like doing what you do.
Yeah.
But they shut your business down. They kicked you out of your job.
Wait, the nurses shut their business down? Huh? The nurses shut your what? When? How? Wait, they did it? Or the government, the Republicans didn't help the small business. They refused to give more bailout money to them. But like, what? Okay.
They won't let you do it. You don't even get to film yourself dancing while working at your business. But these people in hospitals who clearly have time on their hands.
People in hospitals that clearly have time on their hands. Yeah.
Hands to practice choreography have no problem. Now, this video I'm showing specifically, I think it's from Spain or something. I don't think it's from America. And I'm not even sure it's real doctors. It might just be a music video or something.
Yeah, the nurses all danced their way to the small businesses and closed them down. They did it. The nurse lobby. The nurse lobby has bought American politics. Fauci is funded by Big Nurse. The strongest political force in America.
But look, we've seen more than enough of these dancing nurse videos. And there are still some that just came out recently where, the vaccine comes out and they all start dancing again. And they're doing choreography. That means they at least practiced a little bit. What a waste of time and an insult. I'm sick of it.
They should be working for 40 hours straight. 40-hour work day? Or not? 40-hour work week? I mean, we should have a 40-hour work day. How dare they? Must be nice. Must be nice. Must be nice. People like Tim Pool have it hard. Hard, I tell you.
Practiced a little bit. What a waste of time.
What a waste of time. You are nothing but a piece of economic production. Your job is to make sure people are healthy enough to get back to work. That's what the nurse does. What a waste of time. Time is money. And apparently the nurse's time is taking away from the small business being able to be open during a global pandemic.
And an insult. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the lies, and
That's so fake. That's so fake. That's such fake emotion.
Time. And an insult.
God, he's such an actor.
I'm sick of the lies, and I'm sure you are as well.
I'm sick of it.
And if their goal was really to help people, they wouldn't be lying like this.
Wait, if their goal was really to help people? So he is connecting nurses dancing, like I said before, to Fauci saying they're all lying, saying the government has a mass conspiracy to close down your small business. So he's correlating the nurses, and he's going from nurse to close down small businesses, mass conspiracy. So is he purposely smearing nurses? Is that the play here?
They would be
I mean, we know that's the play, but
honest, reasonable, and rational. You can say something very, very simple. We're all stressed out. We're here for you. Let's do the best we can. Instead,
and imagine policing how other people are displaying grief or relief. Imagine being so pathetic that you would do that.
The TikTok videos are designed to give them followers and make them feel good and give them likes. It solves nothing, and it makes people feel bad and angry. Like you're just using this. I want to make this point one more time, and I'll wrap it up. What they are doing, to me, is no different than dancing at a funeral, showing up to a funeral where people are crying, and then dancing around and doing a shuffle dance and waving their arms in the air while filming it.
No, he showed a video of nurses taking a break, literally in the hospital too. It's not just the choreographed stuff. He also connected this to that and basically said they're the same thing.
Putting it up on the internet to get likes. It's disgusting. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com. youtube.com/Timcast.
I'll leave it there. Oh, by the way, next segment, make sure you donate money to me. Make sure you support my channels. Make sure you follow me on Twitter because, these nurses out here, these nurses only care about likes, and these nurses want to build their TikTok profiles. But me, I'm just being honest. Me, Tim Pool, I am trying to give you the news very objectively. The nurses, though, they have an evil vendetta, a bloodlust. They want to kill your small business. How dare they?